So yeah, it's you asked about funding, sponsors, and so forth. What I've learned over the years is not to sort of rely on outside parties too much. I feel kind of just have built this. If you want to get it done, do it yourself, sort of thing. It's always what seemed to work for me. And I find if you I've had DB, Lion, I had Demon Energy for a while now. I've had a couple of drink company sponsors.
Yeah.
I haven't had any money sponsors for the last couple of years, maybe a few years probably.
Yeah.
It's always nice to get, but if you kind of wait, I need someone to give me permission, or I need someone to give me some money to do this, or I haven't been able to do it every year by waiting for those things. I just do it anyway. And financially, it's tough. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, shit, like Andrew's made a killing. Look, there's $2,000 on the door tonight or whatever. But there's months of work. I paid nothing for all of that stuff. So it's like if there's anything left over, it's kind of paying for all the work before.
Yeah.
But like last night, it's like, cool, got some money now, but I still owe the sound tech from Auckland for 2 nights, and the video sponsor from Christchurch. He's great. He's making a music video, but I need to fly him to wherever the band's from.
Right.
Steve James is my favourite producer and mixer, and I kind of think, what's good enough for my bands is good enough for the Battle of the Bands band, right? So I pay Steve to mix the single. It's not not a sponsored thing.
Just while we're here, can we see that? This is a poster for last night's and the night before's. Am I right?
Yep.
2 nights on there. I'll just move that in a bit closer. Those are the bands that the Friday and Saturday night. Two nights for the final that we've just had. Last night was the last night, right? So there it is.
And there's so many great bands, and it's tough because there's always more than one deserving band, right? It's like you got a large amount of bands, and then you whittle down all the best ones. There's usually typically there's probably half a dozen that could be winners.
Yes.
As we're talking about on the way here, it's often the band that scores high across all the score sheets may not necessarily be
right.
Like this judge will have this band number 1, this band number 2. The next judge will have the number 2 one as their number 1, and it's like last night was a classic example. Everybody had Adonai high.
I was there last night.
A couple of the judges had them the highest. A couple of them had them like second or third highest, but really quite close. So when you add it all together, they were the consistent high one. But I feel the pressure on that because it's like there's so many great bands, and
it's very
one of the
tricky.
reasons why I have the individual awards as well, because it's kind of like recognizing individuals. Because sometimes you've got a really outstanding musician, maybe his band's not as good or not as developed yet.
So do you want to talk about that a bit? Elaborate on that just a little bit, the individual awards and how that kind of works, what they're for, kind of exactly.
Yeah, so basically at the national finals, I give all the judges a second sheet. So they have the usual sheet with all the categories: professionalism, songwriting, musicianship, entertainment factor. There's 10 different categories. Then we have another sheet with mark each individual player.
And like best drummer, best instrumentalist, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, look at it all at the end and figure out who we all collectively thought was the best. And so it's just another way too to give out a bit more recognition, because it's a bit tough to say, we've got all these great bands, but only one band's getting some.
And it's the second and third, they get a surprise, a prize as well. But as Andrew's just saying, recognition for the other ones who don't get in that top 3, right? Yeah. So that's why we've got he's got the categories. So there's recognition, and they can win a smaller prize.
Yeah. We've just got like microphones, Audio Technica. So Jansen have been our sponsor for quite a few years. Jansen Sound, like they've been around in New Zealand for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're really, really cool people. Simon, who runs it, is a top bloke. And I've had, the other big music retailers as sponsors over the years. But they're like, oh, we're not sure we can afford it this year. I'm like, all you're doing is giving me an amp and a few vouchers or something. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And Jansen have been really, really supportive, and they're the importers of Allen and Heath mixing desks, which is industry standard, one of the best desks in the world.
What they did nowadays, because I remember my brother and his band, he had Jansen gear. Even before he was in a band, his first electric guitar was Jansen.
Yeah, they had Jansen guitars and amps. The amps were classics, and the guitars too. They don't make them anymore. They started making the guitars again recently.
Right, so they've morphed out into other stuff.
Yeah, but they basically import.
Yeah.
So Allen and Heath, Audio Technica, and Martin Audio, which is a PA system that Glastonbury uses. Beautiful PA made in England. So we've got all those brands as sponsors, thanks to Jansen.
Yeah.
And the Lab Studios in Auckland is one of New Zealand's best studios. A lot of big records from New Zealand have been made there. Beautiful. It's like big old...
Whereabouts in Auckland is that?
It's in Mount Eden. It's like underneath a theatre. It's huge.
Right.
It's like old school sort of big
An old
room.
theatre, is it?
It's kind of like the basement of the theatre.
Oh, right. I get you.
But it's it's beautiful. Really nice. So Ollie there, he's won Engineer of the Year or Producer of the Year, I think maybe. He's really very good. So I get to record there. Then we have a music video prize, which has only just happened starting last year. A guy, David, from South Island Media in Christchurch.
That's for the winner. The winner wins, the national winner, yeah. Okay.
And then Juice TV, been a sponsor for many, many years. They've now agreed to guaranteed airplay of the winner's single, because the single is always good. It's always a great band. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm just trying to. I used to sign the bands for a single deal and then try and give them more, but I don't have a label anymore. And I found that it's just too much, and I'm not capable of breaking the bands to the point that they need to be. No. I wish I could.
Well, it's too much. Andy's more or less a one-man band here doing all this stuff, which is pretty amazing. I think it's incredible.
I stepped away from getting that involved because it's
it
wouldn't
be too much. I don't think anyone could take it to that extent.
So now I just give them as many opportunities as possible.
Yeah.
And some people say, why aren't all the winners famous? Some hater giving me grief online a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it depends on the band, right? Like some of the winners are really driven, and it's a stepping stone, right? It's not going to make you. It's not like, you've just won American Idol and you've got 10,000 fans already before you even start. Like it's a leg up.
Yeah.
But it's still up to the artist to drive themselves forward, and some bands have done a great job of that, and others just like, oh great, we've won, and back to doing sweet fuck all. So it's up to the artist to really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great, Andrew. Thanks for enlightening us to your early musical life and your journey also with the Battle of the Bands, which you're still doing. And am I right? Is it next year or the year after? It's coming up 30 years?
Next year. Yeah.
Next year.
I started in 93, but
Andrew has been running the Battle of the Bands in New Zealand, in Aotearoa, all round in different cities, the regional ones, and then the national final. I just think it's incredible. And hopefully it keeps going. And you're not about to retire yet from that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've been sort of trying to train up my kids to take it over, because we're all going to move on eventually, aren't we? So so I think there may be a way to continue after me.
The next generation, you've got to pass it down.
Oh God, I feel old talking like that.
So that's good. So as I said earlier on Adonai from Wellington, they were the winner of the 2024 national final. Incredible band.
Songs are great.
So thank you, Andrew, for
welcome, mate.
Doing this interview. It's my first, so I hope I went well. Tell me what you think in the comments. And hopefully we'll catch up with you and your own band, The After, if you want to do a plug for when you're playing here.
Sure. We have a Asia Pacific tour starting August 22 in Manila. We're doing 6-7 shows in the Philippines, 7 shows in Japan.
Wow.
2 in KL. First time I've done any gigs in Malaysia.
Tour.
Yep. Then
there's 3 countries.
3 in Singapore.
Oh, 4 countries, is it?
There's more. We're doing
yeah.
We're doing Melbourne and Sydney on the way home.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
first time taking the after to Australia. Yeah. And then our New Zealand tour is basically Auckland and Wellington. yeah. So we're doing the Mothership in Auckland on Friday, 27th of September, and then we're doing Valhalla on Saturday, 28th. But there's a DJ gig starting at.
It's 28th August.
No, it's September. Sorry, September.
Oh, September. Yeah.
And so our show is early, and the locals would know about Lovelands, but I've always wanted to play at Lovelands, and I've
Here's
never
a plug
had the
for
chance.
Lovelands. I haven't been there, but I know I've met people who go there and people who run it. You've been there?
I haven't been there for a gig. Steve took me there during the day.
Lovelands.
Almost went last night.
And shout out to, is it Steve that runs it?
Yeah, amazing.
Shout out to Steve for what he does, although I've never been. I've heard just amazing things. So out in Porirua, which is about, 19, 20 k's north of Wellington, they have their own little private music club, I understand.
Sounds awesome. So we're playing
called Lovelands, yeah.
So we're playing there the same night as our Valhalla show, but we're on last at Lovelands.
Wow, 2 gigs that night in Valley.
That's the end of our tour. So 28th of September.
And with the after, I imagine, I know that you've got some recorded stuff out there. Can people, where would they find you?
All our social media has an NZ on it, or NZ.
After NZ, you mean?
The after NZ. So that's all our socials. Yeah, we've got 3 singles out, but we're just releasing a new single prior to this tour.
Coming up.
With Ruby, who was our guitar player. And now
Ruby Fraser, right here from Wellington.
And she is now fronting the band. She's now the vocalist and the guitar player, which I found Ruby in Battle of the Bands.
And I was there actually when I first met Andrew at one of the heats, and Villanelle, sorry. The name of an incredible band. Sadly, one of their other main singers and guitarists passed away.
Yeah,
but they were incredible, really, really were. So that was great that you met her, and then now she's getting some experience as a young musician.
She's phenomenal.
And your band, a lot of talent there. Ruby Fraser, look out for a guitarist singer. She is. She's very talented. So, well, that's great. Well,
see you at the gig.
See you at the gig. I'll say goodbye. This is Noel signing out from Upgroove and Beyond Music. And I've never done this before because, I've never done an interview. But if you liked what you heard, click on the like button, or you can subscribe to the channel if you've got a YouTube channel to subscribe to it. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. Ka kite po marie, goodbye.